attributes of pace and power, feels to me he's going to be a right handful in the future.
I think in its confidence, and the confidence that I'm talking about is when you are at a club and you feel like you're going to play week in, week out, you're a bit more cold in front of the goal. Because he wants to please so much and do so much and wow, he wants to wow the Liverpool fans. Sometimes he rushes it. You know, he gets the ball, he rushes it instead of controlling the ball, going back on his right foot or finish it clean. You know, he kind of rushes it. And I think I went through that. You know, when you arrive, big signing, you're coming after Sadio Mane, and that's not easy to do. And you just overdo it at times instead of being calm and cool and finish.
Do you think he'll ever be, I mean, I've only seen him in, obviously, a little bit for Benfica last season and in Liverpool shirt this season. Do you think he'll ever be clinical? He seems to be the type of player who's probably not clinical, but he has so many efforts and strike at goal that sooner or later he's going to get a goal.
Yeah, he's more the type of guy that when he will get one, things will come. Is he a finisher like Robbie Fowler? I don't think he's a finisher like Robbie Fowler. Not a lot of people were a finisher like Robbie Fowler, in all fairness. But he has goals in him. He's a bit more of a handful, so sometimes he will rush stuff. A bit like Alexis Sanchez or young Luis Suarez, when you felt like things were bouncing off him and stuff like that. But when you start to master what you're good at, then you can control it better. And when that will happen to him, I think he can be a handful.
You mentioned Robbie Fowler. I think there's something about a player I played with who scored a lot more goals, certainly in his first season. We'll see what Nunes does. Was Fernando Torres, where he's got that power, you know, physically to knock defenders back, and that blistering pace, but at times maybe technically not the best in terms of general play, build up. At times you give the ball to Fernando and he could lose it and be a little bit awkward. And I think he looks like that right now. He just reminds me of him.
Yeah, you're definitely right there, but you guys also was playing a style of play that was perfect for Torres. You know, a bit low, and he was always facing the game. I think that will suit a tiny bit better also Nunes. But that Liverpool side is a bit different because team weight, you're playing in the last third of the team is a bit different. You need to adapt to that also. That's new. That's not easy also.
Are they still a threat in the Champions League? You both start nodding your head straight away.
100%.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Definitely. Like, I think also when you get to that stage where you have no chance of winning it potentially, throw all your eggs in the Champions League basket. They've got great pedigree in this competition. The players, they've got the history behind them. They could definitely do it.
And they've got Mo Salah, who just keeps scoring in this tournament.
Crazy number of goals now in the Champions League, 41. Why do you think Liverpool go on to win against an informed team like Napoli, but fail against sides like Leeds United and Nottingham Forest? Do you think they believe they can win the Champions League, but not the Premier League? Is this about belief?
No, I think they were disappointing against Leeds and Forest. They had to bounce back. They've got ability to do that against everyone. Napoli are through as well, remember. It was one of those games where it's difficult to call, isn't it? But Liverpool played well tonight, deservedly so. But they still have issues, and there's things that need addressing potentially in January.
Is it almost more confusing for a manager, and maybe even for the players as well, that you can be winning games like they are in the Champions League and then struggling so badly in the Premier League? This inconsistency is so difficult to grasp and then resolve. Yeah,
I mean, that old saying, it's a funny old game. You lose to teams in the basement of the league, Leeds and Nottingham Forest, and then you beat the champions and probably favourites of the Champions League in Manchester City, and then you beat the most informed team in Europe in Napoli. It's crazy, really, but I mean, Liverpool, they have the players who can just step up on any given night and beat anybody because they have that, like you said, the genuine class and pedigree.
Should we have a little look at the clip?
Yep.
This is Van Dijk getting in the right areas again, like he did actually at Forest and Leeds as well. And bit of a Nugent moment now.
Crouchy, what would you be saying right now if that was you and your goal nicked on the line? It's going in. Look,
I mean, that is going in, but Nunes is desperate for goals, but you can see Van Dijk's reaction. If that's me, I'm fuming. I'm absolutely fuming because you think he's offside. He's give offside there. It looks like he's going in. I wouldn't be happy. I'll be brutally honest. I don't think Van Dijk was either.
He's thieved that goal.
But he needs them. He needs them. And listen, he's got a good record now.
Rio, don't strikers just do that then?
Yeah, they're
selfish
individuals.
Well, I think that, without a doubt.
Selfish individuals.
I'll have a size 13 on that straight away. Top end. No doubt.
Let's just go to a couple of comments from Liverpool fans. We've got one here from Jay saying, this Liverpool win just papers over the cracks. This team needs massive reinforcements, especially in midfield. Get rid of the deadwood, or it will continue this way. 1 step forward, 3 back. Spurs over the weekend is another test after the Champions League win. And that's not dissimilar to George's comment here. Liverpool's midfield is ageing, and it's becoming a noticeable problem. Why have they not invested in fresh players, and who should they be looking for?
Well, yeah, I understand in terms of ageing. You look at Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho getting older, Milner in that area as well can fill in. But we watched them against Nottingham Forest the other day, and you've got Harvey Elliott, Carvalho that can come in there, Curtis Jones that can come in there. Are they ready right now to come in and take over? That's the question. And if they're not, and if Klopp's seen that, then obviously they're going to have to go into the market. I do believe, maybe not this window coming, but the summer, that's an area that they'll be looking to provide some reinforcements with. But listen, it's hard when players have done so well for you to just kind of go, right, okay, you're showing signs of a bit of weakness or a bit of form is lacking, you're going to have to get out of the club. It's difficult when they've been so loyal and so you've been able to rely on them for so long.
But you work with Sir Alex, like the cycles of teams that he constantly churned out. Like the biggest period of domination we've had was United in that spell, and the constant change of guard and change of players you thought would never leave. You know, you thought they'd beat Beckham. I'm thinking of Jaap Stam, players that you thought were at the top of their game, and
that's the thing. So I think that was the key with Sir Alex Ferguson. What he was great at, he was great at seeing a chink in them players' armours, wherever it be, and changing and getting them out before they were on the other side of the mountain and going down that mountain. Whereas you look at it, we're talking about certain players in this Liverpool team who are probably on the other side of the mountain now in terms of form and in terms of like where they are in their careers to maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's different. You look at Jaap Stam. Jaap Stam was the best defender in the world at the time, more or less. See you later. David Beckham, absolute form in terms of his career. Bye-bye. Ruud van Nistelrooy, another one, top goal scorer at Man United. But the manager saw something early, and it's about making them, they're big calls to make. There's risk involved with that, but you have to have the confidence and belief in what you're doing and the ability to spot talent elsewhere to bring in and cover that.
Are they a sort of mini rebuild stage, or are they 1 or 2 players away from being back where they were?
No, let's not get carried away. They were in every single competition last year. Champions League final, won 2 trophies, were 1 point away from winning the Premier League. You know, this season hasn't gone to plan, but it's not a complete overhaul, is it? They've still got top players. Salah's scoring every week. They've got, you know, Van Dijk's going through a little period where he's not playing as well as he is. He's still possibly the best centre-half in the game at the moment. You know, there's a little bit of a lack of form, and there's definitely a need for a freshen-up, but Liverpool aren't far away.
OK, well, let's talk about another team, and there's another player that I want to talk about as well.
Say his name.
Kvaratskhelia.
Well done.
Thanks, mate. Support says, best team I've seen in the UCL is Napoli. My tip to win the trophy. They have a very good team, strong back four and keeper, brilliant midfield. 2 top strikers. The man has done a fantastic job. And Dash says, Kvaratskhelia, what a player he is. He will be at Madrid or City soon. Should we have a look at Kvaratskhelia on the touchscreen?
Well, I mean, this little cameo here
caused me problems on live television.
You've done all right. You passed the test. I mean, look at him here. I'm not even going to stop it here, but just watch him, witness him in full flow. Oh, brings in Trent, slows him down, puts it through his legs, ball off his left foot. I mean, he's watching him in full flow. I mean, your jaws gasp.
You know their nickname for him?
Diego, isn't it?
Kvaradona.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot about him, as this Napoli team have. I mean, they've been a breath of fresh air. You know, when teams just go at other teams and just there's possibly, you know, very different to how Tottenham are. We talked about Tottenham today. Yeah. Teams who just let loose, who've got the ability to roam, but freedom. You can see in their play, and they've scored a load of goals and breezed through this group, and they look like a team that no one will want to face in the knockout stages now. They've
got players that are direct and want to hurt the opposition every time they get the ball. He's one of them, Osimhen's another. They've got other players, Politano, players that want to run and commit defenders. And that freedom and that belief from the coaching staff and manager for them to do that, I think, is a real breath of fresh air. And I think all the teams in the next phase of this competition, Napoli's one of the main teams you don't want to get.
And people are underestimating Napoli because it's Napoli. But I'll tell you now, if it was Manchester City Bayern,
They don't want 'em.
Liverpool. If they're playing like that, we'd all be saying that they're shoo-ins to win this competition. Like, if they carry on playing as they have in the group stages, Napoli,
I
they'll
think
cause
that's
real problems.
Yeah, but we see a lot of teams sometimes start these tournaments on fire, but it's all about how you get to the knockout stages. How are they going to be in terms of physically and mentally? How is their squad going to be shaped up? Like a lot of teams, once they get to the knockout stages. And that's when squad depth plays a big, big part in this tournament.
OK, well, if we're talking about teams in with a shot of winning this competition,